This podcast is brought to you by our amazing supporters at Patreon. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn how you can support the show, and in doing so, get more than 25 bonus episodes of this show right away, plus a custom RSS feed so you don't have to change from your favorite podcast app. That's patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Oh, and one note, do go there on the web and not through Apple's Patreon app, because you will pay more money, and that is stupid. And there's nothing we can do about it because Apple is dumb. So that's patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Quick PSA, if you haven't done so already, check your voter registration. Lots of states across the country taking people off the voter rolls. You don't want that to be you. So go to vote.gov, check your voter registration, and make sure you're able to vote this November. Takes like 2 minutes, but it's worth doing. And you still have time to fix it if you have been incorrectly purged. Go check your voter registration, folks. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s, the podcast celebrating its 10th anniversary a little late with this year's Listener Request Month. I am one half of the mega podcasting powers, Trip Lano, and with me, as always, celebrating this fantastic 10th anniversary, the Macho Man,
Andrew Lano.
I forget to look up what that is in the first anniversary's paper.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Second anniversary, there's.
I think 10 is a medal of some kind.
I would imagine it's a biggie. It's like the smallest biggie is my guess.
Tin,
as you build
maybe?
your way up. Yeah, maybe it's that, or like maybe it's a silver.
No, silver's 25, gold is 50. That one I know.
Oh, you're right, and diamond is 60, which makes very little sense to me. Like that ratio should be adjusted.
The diamond jubilees, yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe it should be like 10, 25, 50, if it make diamond 50
or diamond 75,
25. Yeah, I feel like 75. I feel like if you're going for human marriages,
yeah,
50 should be one that is like achievable. It's not necessarily achievable for most folks to get to a 75th wedding anniversary. Not impossible. I'm sure it's happened, but not a lot of those out there. Anyway, we are here celebrating Listener Request Month. Sorry for the aborted schedule, folks. Life has been a little bit insane outside the podcast, and so we had to make a little bit of correction. So Bloodsport is coming. It'll be in December, so it'll be a little late, but also never a bad time to enjoy Jean-Claude Van Damme's kicking. So we'll push that off a little bit. We wanted to do these two because they're sort of spooky back to back, and then we'll roll right into the Spooktacular and, of course, Candied Yams in November. So apologies to the listener who put in Bloodsport, but we are getting to it. Just it'll be first episode of December. So sorry for the wait, but it is coming. We're kicking things off here with Saturday the 14th, and that's why this episode is coming out today, Saturday the 14th, a little earlier than our normal Monday release, but it worked out, so how could you not do that, right? So I'll give you a quick rundown of what this movie is after we hear from Michelle.
Hey, Trip and Andrew, this is Michelle. I just listened to the live drawing for our Patreon pick, and you got Saturday the 14th for my selection. How ironic that even a slightly horror type of movie is the one that you're going to do for me.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
This movie is something that I watched constantly on HBO. It got released right after it was in the theater, if it was in the theater. And my sister and I watched this all the time. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because one of the girls in it is from Give Me a Break. Maybe that's what drove me to it. I'm pretty sure it was pretty bad. Hopefully it'll be for some good content on the episode. As always, love the show, and I'm looking forward to hearing my movie. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Michelle. We watched Saturday the 14th, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your incomplete film. See me after class about your incomplete film.
That is exactly accurate for this movie.
It's not bad. It's just an incomplete.
Yeah, scenes deleted. Too many scenes deleted, very clearly, for this one. Saturday the 14th is a spoof movie. The basic plot is that a family finds out that they have inherited this spooky house from a uncle, a little too close of a relative for my liking on this sort of like Scooby-Doo mansion setup.
Yeah.
And this house is dilapidated and also is trying to be acquired by Jeffrey Tambor's Dracula and the Bride of Dracula.
Why they didn't just name him Dracula, I don't know, because Dracula's public domain.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
If you're going to use all of the Dracula lore, just call him Dracula.
Especially, it's like, you're not even doing the cute thing where it's like, it's Dr. Alucard or something, you know what I mean?
Or Dr. Acula.
You know? Yeah. So that part doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But there's a secret, an ancient book inside the house that unleashes a bunch of monsters, and all sorts of silliness ensues. That's sort of Saturday the 14th in a nutshell.
I liked Pandemonium a lot better.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember Pandemonium. I'm not sure I remember. Gun to my head. There's a horse, right?
The Carol Kane one.
Oh,
she played Carrie.
Sorry, was Pandemonium also a Michelle pick?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay. I for some reason I thought Pandemonium was one that was like college hijinks.
That's Midnight Madness.
Okay, all right, thank you. You'll forgive me for confusing those two titles, which are fairly similar.
Pandemonium I liked much more.
Yeah. It's funny, I was kind of comparing this the whole time watching it to The Gate, which we just watched, because it's also sort of like horror for children, but in this case it's like sort of like the right speed of pitch, although it just never makes it to the plate. Like it doesn't get to the plate. It, like, to use my belabored baseball metaphor, it like hits the ground and rolls over home plate, so it's not a pitch you could swing at.
Yeah, it's definitely in the same universe. It's just I don't know what happened here. Like reading about it because there's not a lot of info on Wikipedia and IMDb, which even if it was, that's all always grain of salt. But like, apparently someone told us this story to the director and writer, who then wrote it down and gave it to Roger Corman, whose wife wanted to produce it.
Yeah,
and
I could see a world where if you're like a big fan of the classic monsters, this is kind of a fun thing. It's sort of like, I could see the elevator pitch for this movie being good.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get to.
It's just, you would think even Roger Corman, like, Roger Corman is the guy who says, well, I got 3 more days with this set. Let's make another movie. Like, I get that. This man, like, knows how to do it. So you would think he'd be like, hang on. Even I think there's some missing pieces here.
Yeah.
Can someone shake the box and see if there's a few pieces stuck in there?
Now the script I have goes from page 80 to page 100, and there's nothing in between. Mm-hmm. What happened to those pages? Like, we just decided to take them out.
Yeah, it's wild. And then this husband and wife couple that stars as the husband and wife, like, I guess they were like a kind of a big deal at this time. They burned hot and bright and quick.
Yes. Richard Benjamin, the husband, he ended up directing a bunch of stuff, including previous episode. I can't find it in my notes right now, but I'll get to it later, including one previous episode.
I think they were kind of a hot ticket item of the era based on what I was reading. And then like the wife who becomes a vampire refused to wear vampire teeth.
I found that really incomprehensible. Like, why would you even, like, what? First of all,
it's up
why
there
is that big of a burden?
With Emma Watson controlling so much costume stuff on the Beauty and the Beast movie. It's like, there are people whose job it is to make these things look the way they're supposed to. Let those people do their job.
Right. And also, like, if she doesn't want to wear the fangs, perhaps cast somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, but you can't, because then you lose Richard What's-His-Face. 100% they were a matching set.
Richard Benjamin, I found it here. He directed previous episode Money Pit.
Oh.
Possible future episodes, My Stepmother is an Alien and Mermaids, the one with Cher, Winona Ryder, and Bob Hoskins. I don't know
Christina Ricci.
Okay, have you seen it? This feels like an Andrew movie.
It's one that I always like want to. I remember seeing, so the poster looks way whimsical. The trailer is not whimsical. Like, it's more of a coming of age story.
I see.
Like, Winona Ryder's like a precocious 13-year-old going on 40, and like her mom's kind of a ship adrift. Her mom is Cher.
Okay.
But the poster's like Cher in a Bob Mackie mermaid outfit, and I was like, oh, Cher. I was like, oh, Cher's a mermaid, and I clicked on it because this was back in the day when you would scroll through the movies on the TV in the on demand.
Yeah.
And I saw the poster, and I clicked on it, and I was like, I read the synopsis, and I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, this is not that. No, thank you.
He also directed one of the weirdest movies of all time, Milk Money, from 1994, in which a group of children befriend a prostitute played by Melanie Griffith and set her up with his father, played by Ed Harris. He's like a single sad dad, and they like
it's a weirder version of Sleepless in Seattle.
But it's like very like she is very sexy and sexual, and the kid is like, Aruga, you should fuck my dad.
No.
Basically, the vibes are yeah. I don't know that that's like a direct quote from the film, mind you, but in watching the 30-second trailer today, I was like, yeah, that's basically what I remember, because I feel like it was advertised as like a kid's movie in the vein of A Blank Check, because I definitely saw this movie and I was like, I remember being like, I don't know what's going on here, but this ain't right.
Yeah, even I feel like something's amiss here.
Yeah. So a strange career as a director for Richard Benjamin, but potentially we'll be back on the show at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a... You can tell this movie was chopped to bits. It honestly, my guess is like this was a second drive-in feature.
Do you really think... So I don't even think it was chopped to bits. I think that it was just like, we'll cobble what we have together and not worry about it.
Yeah, that's also probably...
Which, like, again, I don't want to besmirch the wife of Roger Corman. It's just like, I get the vibe that it's just kind of like, it's not like there's a major studio breathing down her neck.
Right. One of the movies that one of our listeners has put up on, one of our Patreon folks has put in for Listener Request Month a few times and hasn't gotten picked, I've actually seen before, and it's called Spookies. And that is a situation where they like filmed half a movie and then there was some kind of disaster, and much like your Roger Corman, like, well, we still have 3 days. It's like, well, we still have all the sets and stuff, so let's just make another movie. And so they had like 2 half movies and they cut them together to make a complete film. And it's kind of an interesting artifact. As a movie, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
And this almost strikes me at the same thing, where it's like, we had like 4 funny ideas and then we had to string them into a narrative, and then everything fell apart there. And this reminds me of like, before the Friedberg Seltzer spoofs, I feel like the spoof had a roll through the 90s where it was like, they're just kind of incomprehensible sometimes. I just recently watched a trailer for one that I sent to my buddy that's like a weird mob spoof with like Dom DeLuise and stuff. And it's like, there's like some Godfather in there and some, mishmash pieces, but it's sort of like spoofing like a genre, but from 10 years ago. And that's sort of what this is, right? Like, these movies with the classic monsters had sort of fizzled out 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's not like a current thing that it's not like, oh, we got finger on the pulse here.
Well, we had another movie like that recently, I feel like. I don't remember what it was. It was Johnny Dangerously, is like a parody of a movie that no one really watches anymore. But that's a very well done version of that thing.
Right. And I think the reason that works is because they were like, we just did
Michael Keaton. We can't ignore the Keaton at all.
Okay, it is certainly the Keaton. First of all, every actor in that movie is 4 degrees higher than this one, including like Mama.
Yeah, true. I mean, yes, but it is. Okay, everyone's doing a lot, but you put Keaton in there. You
have Katie Ledecky, and then you have me swimming side by side in a pool. You're gonna be like, that poor man seems like he's drowning. So yes, you are correct. I'm not saying
she
you're
would
wrong.
win and then swim out to get you and bring you to the edge.
Yeah, exactly. So you're 100% correct. That all of that is true, and the Keaton of it all. But I was gonna say that movie has like a plot. It's almost like the reason why not another teen movie works is because they just do the plot of She's All That, and then they do jokes and spoofs. And I don't know this to be true, but like the basic part of the Keaton thing could be an old gangster movie with like his mom is sick and they need money for the thing, and then here's like a rivalry with another gang member. All that feels like that could, I don't know that it exists, but it could be. So it's a lot more concrete. This is just kind of like, all right, we got a good scene with the sister in the bathtub. We have we have the okay bit with the brother and the monster in the bedroom. That one's kind of funny.
That's fine, sure.
I mean, not like I know. I'm scraping
We're being the
barrel
kindest
here.
we can be here.
Yeah, and then the gag with the mom in the attic with the bats is kind of funny.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Loosely kind of funny. But like we have 3 bits, right? And it's like, okay, we have these 3 scenes. Now how do we make them all go together? And that's where it just all falls apart.
Yeah, the wheels really... the wheels were never fully attached to this cart, so they just kind of fall off if you breathe on it.
Yes. We start with a couple of real silly gags in the credits where there's like an animated bat that like bumps into the frame. It's
a weird opening credits because it's not like they fully animated. They like just took a photo negative of the house set and then put a couple like cartoons over it, and not in like these are anything we're gonna like. It's not like I always think of Christmas Vacation.
Sure,
it's nothing you see in the movie, but it is the spirit and tone of what you're gonna see.
Sure.
Which, like, I guess this is technically like it's a half-ass bat. It's a half-ass cartoon, so it's the setting the tone.
Yeah, it's like we have a half-ass bat, and that's what you're getting from us. We're getting a lot. Also, this movie has like this running gag where both Richard Benjamin and I didn't write down the actress's name who plays his
Priscilla.
wife are like
Or Paula. Paula. It's Paula, I think.
The actress.
Yes, correct.
Or the character. Okay. So they both are like very stupid. Like they see a bat and they're like, "Oh, these damn owls!" And it's like that joke happens so many times that for me it came all the way back around.
Yeah, the first time I liked it because I couldn't tell it was a bat in the window.
Yeah. Oh, I could tell it was a bat in the window, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny."
I just thought it was a bad bird prop, and I was like, "That's fine." Like,
it's also a bad bat prop. So
yeah, but I was like, "Oh, it's like it's a seagull on a stick kind of thing."
Yeah,
sure. I'm here. Whatever. I can buckle in for that. But like they were so inconsistent.
Yes,
and beyond the whole like I don't want to wear fangs, and that her husband was like, "Trust me, you'll think she's a vampire," and I was like, "Will we? I don't know."
Yeah. I was like, I have read Dracula, and so I get that she's doing like a Mina Harker thing, but it's not very good.
No. Because like she's becoming a vampire, and then sometimes she's evil, and then sometimes she's not, and then sometimes Dad is aware of like he sees eyeballs in his coffee and doesn't freak out, which implies like he's like been in the house too long, but then doesn't notice his wife is evil. Like it's just real.
He like
picky-choosy.
puts like a napkin over it so he doesn't have to look at it.
Yeah,
he's just like, oh, yawn. Paula Prentice is her name.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's why I thought Priscilla. That was where I was getting those sounds from.
Apparently, their sitcom in the late '60s was like the peak of their hot shitness.
Okay,
but also this movie was like very popular as a rental to the point where it garnered a sequel, which I find kind of wild.
That is wild. Yeah, I did see that too.
Because like you got to think with a rental, the way that happens is like repeat customers. So maybe kids really liked it, which is possible, and that was like a driving force of like, hey, you know, the kid wants to watch this movie again. Whatever, we'll rent our movie and give this to the kids.
Yeah, or like you know, in school when kids, you know, that's how Evil Dead got so popular was kids talking in the hallway.
Oh yeah, maybe. I thought you were like, well, maybe they watched it in school, and I was like, why the hell would they watch it?
No. Kids talking or bringing it to school and handing it around.
Right. Yeah. Maybe this doesn't seem nearly as cool and underground and weird as Evil Dead to inspire that sort of energy.
I agree with that, but you know,
yeah. So we got Tambor's Dracula, and like this is like we know now that Jeffrey Tambor sucks as a human for a number of reasons, but like. One of the frequent things people said about him before we knew he sucks, that he was difficult to work with, like kind of a pain in the ass. And I feel like this movie is a perfect example of you seeing that, where it's like very clearly he took no direction from anybody on anything and was like, this is how I'm doing Dracula.
I'm just Jeffrey Tambor. Like it's
yeah.
I'm Jeffrey Tambor in a dollar store Dracula costume.
Yes.
And that's what you're getting.
And like, I will commit exactly this much and no further, and no, I am not interested in hearing what you have to say about it, because it's like...
Also, I like that they didn't even wig him, so he's just got the donut, or the monk.
He's got the half donut.
The friar. He's got the
donut.
friar.
Yeah. The horseshoe, it's just like it still hadn't gone gray. His horseshoe.
Well, they were
gone
spray
for a long
painted.
time.
They definitely spray painted that black.
Maybe. It was like 84. I thought maybe he could have still been.
It was very black.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Maybe it just rubbed off from the dye from the cape, from putting the cape on and on.
Maybe
on and off.
Also, his wife looks like she stepped out of Blade.
Yes,
which is wild for 1981 too.
Yeah, I think it might be 1984. But I looked her up, and she only was in like 3 movies. Like, she has a very, very small career. 81. I'm sorry. Pardon me. You were correct.
She's good in this. It's weird to see like classic, Halloween store Dracula, and then someone in Blade, like leather pants, or she's I don't know, Emma Peel from the Avengers.
Yeah. That's a very good
reference point,
connection point there. Yeah, thank you.
But then she's got like Lily Munster hair or Sindel hair.
They put this little tiny flick of white in the hair, which is like clearly supposed to imply Bride of Dracula, but it's like, you're making a spoof movie. I guess I was thinking Bride of Frankenstein, not Bride of Dracula. Yeah, you're right.
It's the Lily Munster kind of one streak.
Yeah. But like later in the book, in the movie, there's like some references to specific Dracula lore, like
Mina Harker.
She was, Mina Harker, and like that she was jealous of that woman in London and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, so this is genuinely Dracula and the Bride of Dracula, but we're never going to call them that. And then also like the 11th hour is not even right. It's like the 11th hour and 59 minute twist of this movie is like,
dumb.
Well, couldn't you have had like a scene with Tambor where like we learned a little more about it? Because like, why is he biting the mom on the neck? Like, what is the purpose of that to accomplish
get the book,
this plan?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lick of sense to me. Anyway, we'll go through it. The will reading is actually like my favorite part of this, and I thought like, oh, maybe this is going to be a movie that like is good, like that I like, that has a lot of things for me, because there's a bunch of family members crowded in this room, and the lawyer is reading out the will and explaining who gets what. And there's a nice like fuck you to my sister who only took from me and never gave me anything. I give you 300 overdue library books that are now your responsibility. And then there's like a pause where she shrieks, and then the lawyer says, also this, and makes a fart noise with his mouth.
It's very
which, like,
good.
It was stupid in the good way that I appreciate.
Because I was like, if this scene kind of tips in the Elvira will reading category, I'll know we're in for a good time, because that's that's the Mel Brooksy, that's the fully committing to this weird universe thing.
Yeah, and so the nephew, the Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice, they get told that they are getting his estate in Erie, Pennsylvania. So we do like a flip turn.
Well, it is also badly edited here. Sorry that because Jeffrey Tambor and his wife they show up in pitch black darkness to the house.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m. and they're like, "Don't you think she meant 4 p.m.?"
Yeah, and then they like flip wipe to them in broad daylight in front of the house, and I was like, "Well, I thought you were vampires. You can, okay." Right. And then she's like actively showing them the house and goes, well, there is one thing. And they're like, what? And then we flip wipe to the will reading, and then flip wipe back to this the family moving into the house. Like, we're walking past the vampires and the realtor. So it's all supposed to be concurrent. Right. It's just, it's a mess.
It doesn't make much sense. No.
And it's funny, the Wikipedia says, even though this takes place in the fictional town of Erie, Pennsylvania. And I was like, I don't think they put 2 E's in that script. I think it's because later someone has a Pittsburgh newspaper, so I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be actual ERIE Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yeah, no, that is absolutely the bit. Yes. I do like the 2 little bits, like they get out of the moving truck and they're looking at this very pretty house across the street, and the wife's like, isn't this lovely? And the husband's like, that is a lovely house, but it's not ours. It turns her around to the like decrepit falling down.
I feel like I've seen this exact bit in like 8 other movies. It's like it's a classic bit.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, it's like I don't think it's like a great, original idea, but it is at least funny. And then the other one I liked is they go in the house, they hit the light switch, and all the candles flicker on, like that kind of Mel Brooksy bit.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, all right. Like at this point, I'm like, okay, like I'm on board with this movie.
All right, I think We're doing it.
And then like a half hour into this, again, like 71 minutes long, I think is the total runtime without credits. I was like, oh, looks like my water needs to be topped up. I'm going to go pause and refill the old water. And I had like 82% of a glass of water. It's like, did not need to get up at that moment. But like, yeah, I'm going to go.
And here's the thing.
top
I love
this bad
short
boy off.
movies. I've said it before. Nightmare Before Christmas is like 73 minutes.
Yeah.
And it is a fully complete film and story.
Sure.
So it can be done. Your 72-minute movie can be a full and complete thing.
This is probably the longest feeling short film I've ever watched. Short movie, not short film.
Yes.
So the dog goes missing in the house, like almost immediately. Or the dog won't go in the house.
In the house, and then the son goes missing.
Yeah, that's right. And the dad has a pretty ridiculous line where he's like, "Remember the time we went to Disneyland and he hid inside Pluto for 2 hours?" And then we changed rooms, and the mom is like, "Are you hiding inside a giant dog again?" And I was like, "What on earth are they talking about?"
I was like, I guess we're kind of getting Brooksy. I guess okay. I think I can see this world.
Like in the kayfabe of this movie, did the child knock out a performer, take their costume off, when in a silly cartoon they like steal a security guard's uniform?
Yeah, and that's what it feels. Yeah, exactly. Or did he just like climb on him like a backpack?
Yeah. Or like get inside the mouth of the foam head. I just don't know what's happening here.
So they all look for the kid. There's also they I think all see a cat, which later they pretend they haven't seen before.
Yes. I honestly wondered if they edited the scenes in a different order than they intended to in the script.
Maybe. I don't know. We get a jump scare for the daughter, and then Billy was like, I was fixing the fuse box. And the lights all turn on.
And they constantly are like, this is the smartest member of our family, but he never shows himself to be all that smart except for this one. Yeah, yeah. I did like the fake Twilight Zone they were watching.
It's a good Rod Serling, whoever they got. They paid him for a full day's work. He sat in that booth for a full day just recording random intros and outros.
And it's like, they were on their way to Cincinnati, Ohio, which I just thought was like such a fun
to a party where you might find snacks and cocktail napkins,
onion dip, and club soda. And it was like, oh man, this is delightful.
I would rather watch that, frankly. That's what I want to see instead.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the part, like, this is why immediately I was like, well, if this kid's so fucking smart, why is he such a dummy? Because he immediately opens this book and he just like starts, reading it and
has no reaction. Like, he has very minimal reaction to the magic, like, sparking in the book, and then the illustrations disappearing from the monster illustrations disappearing from the book.
Right. And it's also strange to me because it's like, we have Dracula, and later we have the creature from the Black Lagoon. We have Dracula, Bride of Dracula. Where the hell is Frankenstein and the Wolfman? Like, we have like a Bigfoot, and then this like weird alien thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know Frankenstein's monster is like you have to do your own version of it, otherwise Universal will like come for you hard.
I mean, how hard is it to get a big guy and make him green and like put a scar on his head? Like, we get it.
Yeah. I do like this bit because the dad goes into the
kitchen. Or how about a mummy? Where's a mummy?
I think there was a mummy.
Movie?
It was weird
for like a second, though.
Yeah, I agree. Dad goes into the kitchen and mom is like cleaning things in the cupboard, and she reaches in and pulls out a skull from the cupboard and takes her little sponge and cleans it. I was like, yeah, okay. Okay, so we are doing the thing. I like this stuff.
And she puts it back and it puffs up dust, so she pulls it back out and re-wipes it down. I was on board. I thought it was good.
Yeah. There's a note in the fridge that says "Do not open the book," which just like I don't like. Why is that in the fridge?
Right. Why isn't that not taped to the book? Perhaps a better thing to do is put that on the front of the book. Do not open this book.
Or why is the book not like chained shut?
Yeah. The realtor shows up in the middle of the night and gets killed by the Bigfoot monster.
Because she's like, oh, they have to be ready to sell now.
Yeah.
Gets got. They're in.
And then go ahead.
Mom and dad are in bed, and they hear the scream, and mom says, "What is that?" And dad goes, "It's probably an owl." And she gets up and opens the curtain, and it is a bat puppet on a string. I thought it was just a shitty bird. It's a bat puppet on a string, and she turns and goes, "You're right. It was an owl." I like that. I laughed.
Yeah.
I will say I laughed at that.
I did too. I thought it was like very Muppetsy, like the sort of silly, goofy. It's like, okay, I kind of like this. And then there's like 10 additional. The bat is an owl, and I was like, well, now I'm just concerned this woman has like a massive head trauma.
Yeah, it became too long for that bit. Also, it is the biggest headboard for a full-size bed I've ever seen.
Yes. It's like a full 3 feet above the bed toward the ceiling.
And like 2 feet on either side.
Yeah. It honestly seemed like they had a king-size headboard and couldn't afford a king-size mattress. So they were like, well, this is what we're going to use.
Oh, yeah, we found this one in the dumpster. Go ahead.
The kid screams. The kid screams. The parents like sit up at the same time, bonk heads, and the wife gets knocked out. And he doesn't. Here's the thing:
that bit is funny if the lights are on. If it is, it is too dark for that bit to be funny. Because I went, huh? I rewound it because I was like, what?
There's like a cartoony like bonk sort of like
I think
head
he
noise.
elbows her. I couldn't tell. I was like, she's knocked out, so he hit her somehow.
Yes, and then he knocks his lamp onto the floor, and then like. After this resolves and he comes back to bed, he doesn't pick the lamp up. He just turns it off on the floor.
Yeah, and doesn't notice that his wife isn't in bed.
I did like the thing with the son. He goes in the son's room and he's like, Dad, there's a monster in here. And he's like, come on, you're too old for monsters. Just had a nightmare. And the monster is literally like hiding directly behind the dad.
He's like doing the basketball shuffle.
Yes. Yeah. Tenacious D is what he's playing.
I did think it was weird that the dad was like physically aggressive in getting his son back in bed.
Yes.
I don't know why. There was something weird about it that he was like, I was like waiting for him to like reach under the bed and like get the mommy dearest leather straps out. I was like, why are you like, normally it's like, all right, let's get you back in bed, buddy. He's like gripping him by the shoulders and like shoving him back down onto his pillow. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's like, go back to bed. I'm trying to have sex with your mother.
And then the monster's like over Dad's shoulder, being like gesturing, like, don't tell.
Yeah. And the kid, like, the dad leaves. The kid's like, I didn't snitch. And the monster goes after him anyway.
I don't get it. What's happening?
Yeah. And so the kid like hits the monster with a book. The monster falls out the window and dies.
The book like zaps monsters, and I was like, okay,
yes.
So we're getting that.
We have some lore laid out here. The mom got Dracula'd. So we see like bite marks on her neck because like the husband gets back in bed. She's not there, goes looking for the wife. And then we cut to Tambor out front, who's ranting and raving about the book and wanting, needing the book or whatever. And I will say perhaps the best edit in the whole movie is this cut from Tambor making angry eyes a la Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story to eggs and bacon in angry eyes format in a pan.
You're right.
And they're
good eggs.
They are the best, I will say, perhaps the best eggs we've ever seen on the podcast.
That's what happens when you get a low budge.
Yeah.
What else are they doing?
Right. This was crafty. So they were like, we got to make a good job for the two actors that are known.
And this begins a lot of confusing stuff going on. Again, even I've said that a lot so far.
I mean, this movie is thoroughly confusing.
It is. So it's mom and dad eating breakfast alone, and I was like, so did you not wake up the kids? It seems strange to like prepare a full breakfast for yourselves, and then are you gonna prepare another one for when the kids come? I don't know.
Right, because breakfast is not really a meal that you can like reheat.
No,
like,
maybe
the
bacon, but like eggs.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
So the daughter comes in and she's like, I barely slept, and she says, and I quote, if you expect me to start school today, like in this condition, you got another thing coming. And I was like, okay, it's a school day.
Yes.
Sure. I was like, I don't know what time it is now. If
it is, I believe, Thursday the 12th.
Yes. I was like, well, I don't know what time it is. If there's breakfast, if mom and dad are eating a full cooked breakfast, I was like, all right, I don't know.
Right.
And then
this feels like how on sitcoms people are always going to their friends' houses for breakfast on work days, which is just like, what did you go over there at fucking 6:28 a.m.? What is happening here?
Yeah. Because then all of us, the next scene is the daughter on the couch watching Twilight Zone while the brother is looking at the bookshelf behind her.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I thought you have school.
Right.
And then mom and dad come through and like, we got to go run an errand. A window broke last night. We'll see you in a little bit. And then they leave. And I was like, you'll see them in a little. Don't they have to go to school? I don't know why they bothered including a line about starting school if they had zero intention of the kids ever going to school.
Yeah, and like the kid later keeps being like, I gotta get out of this house, and it's not like I gotta go to school. It's just like I'm trapped here.
He says I have school on Monday at one point.
Yes,
but I was just like, why did we say school at all?
Right.
It's just
They're
confusing.
making July. Yeah, I did like the
also a monster did the dishes.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. They're trying to figure out who did the dishes. The dad's like, and everyone's like, I didn't do the dishes. And then the daughter picks up this enormous 3-fingered dishwashing glove, which is a pretty good prop, honestly. Yeah. And like doesn't say anything. Like she doesn't go like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and then the monster also cleaned. I think the monster cleaned the son's room. I think is the implication.
Yeah. Yes.
So I was like, are we gonna like? I would love to learn about these monsters. Like, why is this one clean up? What is that?
Right. Or is this like if the whole thing had been like, actually these aren't monsters, these are people who've been in, like they've been imprisoned or whatever. They like the book is actually a prison and they get stuck there and they like, you know, whatever literally any explanation. Pick one out of a hat.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So the daughter's like, I'm gonna take a bubble bath, and she starts filling up the tub, and as she's like undressing and fiddling around with various soaps and creams and whatever, we keep seeing a shark fin like floating around in the tub, and they're doing like knock off Jaws music.
I was like, this is okay. I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah. And so eventually, you know, there's like the phone rings and the phone company's like, we're turning off your phone service for the next hour, which, you know, obviously is to set up this gag. And then what really struck me about this is this girl like is filling up the tub, but like,
which again, I thought it was a school day and she's taking a bubble bath at 9 a.m., 8 a.m.
That's true. But like a very casual and cavalier attitude towards bathtub temperature. I feel like, you know, I'm a person who gets in while it's like a third full so that I'm like acclimating to temperature as it's happening, as opposed to, you know, not that there are multiple ways to slice this particular apple, but like she's like, she's dipping a finger in, she's dipping a toe in, she's dipping a finger in. And I'm like, just get in the damn thing already.
Well,
like,
at one point,
what's happening
she's
here?
Still wearing her underwear and her camisole. And she steps fully into the tub, and I was
both
like, well,
legs.
"What is your?"
Yes.
I understand, like putting a toe in at whatever, but like, why would you step all the way in if you're still wearing your clothes? I don't want this teen actress to get naked. That's not what I'm saying.
I looked it up because I thought she looked very young.
She's 20.
She actually was 20
or 19 or whatever. She was 19 or 20.
19 or 20. Yeah. So, you know, perfectly of age. But yeah, it's like just like put a robe on and then have
where's the robe? Just put a robe on.
Yeah, just like, you know, put or whatever. Pick something, but just like I'm not saying like I need to see her get naked, but like it doesn't make any sense.
It's weird that she tries to step into the tub with underwear and a camisole on. That's a weird thing.
She'd get wet up to the knee before taking off the rest of her clothes.
Because later they fully built her some kind of bubble bra. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's made. That's the most fascinating thing about this fucking movie.
The whole budget went to the bubble bra.
It's genuinely impressive.
It is. I agree. I honestly, my assumption is it was just pasties and then actual bubbles.
But they did not move. The thing is, like, they did not like swipe away in the same way all the other bubbles did, and they even have like bubble straps. So I don't know if they. I was like, is this cotton batting that they like that would like hold the bubble? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But the shark fin in the bathtub turns out to be a whole ass creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. It's like you start trying to figure out how, like, you know, obviously the answer is it doesn't, but like it's the fin is the top of the creature's head and it was just that part sticking out. And it's like, so either this thing was like somehow able to like change the shape of its body, or the tub is like 7 feet deep.
Yeah. And this creature is not, it's just like treading water, I guess, in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like a fake out where she's in the tub and she's like feels something and she pulls it out and it's a giant rubber duck. And then as she tosses that away, the creature comes up between her legs, much like Freddy's glove in Nightmare on Elm Street, which clearly they stole from this movie as it was out 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
And here comes the creature from the Black Lagoon, and oh god, we have a chase sequence happening. Now, I have to say, the actual funniest part of this movie is the part where a stunt performer is inside this suit, clearly cannot see whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, not
Clearly, like if there is like a thin layer of black gauzy material somewhere in this mask that they can see through, I would be genuinely surprised. It is very, very evident that they cannot see, and they are chasing her down the stairs, and you can tell the person in here is like, oh shit, 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 because they are moving with the speed of a one-legged octogenarian who has lost their walker. It is,
and it was not sped up in
unbelievable,
post, as it should have been.
No, yeah, or just like cut back and forth. Like you cut to them on the 5th stair, then you cut to the kids. Now they're on the 3rd stair. Kids, 1st stair. Like just do it by cuts if you can, if you're not going to speed it up. But this person is so gingerly walking. It's like me after like a 10-mile hike where the next 2 days I'm like, all right, we're going to go down the stairs one at a time. So left, right, left, right, left, right, you know? And I just felt so bad for this performer because I was like, this person is shit scared right now.
And the sister's now wearing a magic towel that is as magic as the one that the Hayden Panettiere character wears in the game Until Dawn. When she gets chased after, she also gets chased after a bath through like the basement of a house, and her towel doesn't move.
I assume this is just like she had a tube top and short shorts.
Oh
on,
yeah, this is what
like,
this is. I just meant like the fact that this. But again, give her a robe.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would have solved the problem. I thought the towel actually was kind of like a fun way, like it was a fun little chase, like that she was in a towel was kind of fun. I thought.
Yeah, I just
like,
it's always funny the magic towels in movies that don't fall down.
Yeah, especially like at one point she trips and falls and the towel does not reveal anything. It stays like firmly put. Yeah. So the kid is like, I gotta go get something out of my room. You get the thing to chase you. And so she leads this creature from the Black Lagoon on a little chase through the house. The brother is like frantically trying to find the book.
His room is now
Mickey Mouse
clean.
sheets. Yes. And he has Mickey sheets, which I thought was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, this bumbling cop who we saw, like, I don't know, when the parents went out, maybe.
I was confused by the cop too, because we'd never seen him before. He just runs through their yard and goes, I forgot my badge at home. And I was like,
I was certain that like at some point I missed the cop in the beginning, and I was like, okay, well, I guess there's this cop here. So I'm glad to hear you say no.
Not at all. Because then the dad goes, well, how lucky to live next to police. And I was like, there are so many ways to give the audience that information with that makes sense, and you picked one that just is gobbledygook.
Like I forgot my badge, and then
the first time we're ever seeing this fucking character.
Yeah, but like, so like just to build a timeline, the parents go out, say it's 9 a.m. They see the cop. I lost my badge at home or whatever. The daughter fills a bathtub. That's 10 minutes, 15, whatever. Gets in it, has the moment with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
No, gets the phone call, then gets in
That's right. Runs away from the creature, gets chased downstairs. The brother's running around upstairs. Like 30 minutes have elapsed between the parents meeting this cop and then the cop coming back out, pinning the badge to his chest and hearing her scream, and then being like, is something wrong? And she's like, yeah, help. And so he shoots the knob off the front door, kicks it in, and puts a bullet right between the eyes of the creature, which I was genuinely shocked by. There's like a squib and everything. And the creature doesn't care at all. So he unloads the gun in it, and the creature murders this cop and then drags him out of the house.
And I was like, so I guess does the creature not care? Like, I thought the whole creature was after the daughter, and now the creature just doesn't care.
Right, he just drags him away, disappears. The daughter faints, and so the brother carries her upstairs.
We don't see that part.
Tub. Yeah, well,
obvious.
Probably because it would have looked ridiculous.
I was like, I thought we were at least gonna get like he grabs her by the arms and like drag like clunk 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 up the stairs.
Yeah.
So he just puts her in the bathtub in the towel.
Yes, and then turns around and we hear like blub 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 blub, and she is slipped fully underwater. So he pulls her out, hooks one armpit over the edge of the tub, and then just runs away.
Good enough. So he goes downstairs as mom and dad come home, and then he's seen talking to the bookshelf. So I was like, is the bookshelf a monster too?
Yeah. Because he's trying to find a book that will help him find the other book.
He thinks if this book releases monsters, there's got to be another book that gets rid of monsters. And I was like, I don't know why we assume that. I would think it's all in the same book.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out there's going to be a party on Saturday.
Yeah. The like relatives who didn't get the house are mad and want to come see the house. Also, the mom goes to talk to the daughter who's like, I had this horrible dream. And, it's like, well, I guess it was a dream. And then she realized she's in a towel in the bathtub and it's like, what? Meanwhile, Dad is downstairs with like a truly insane spread.
It's a Leno level sandwich station.
But like, this is a ghastly amount of effort. It's like, this is the kind of effort you put into everyone needs to make sandwiches for lunch. Not one person.
Oh yeah, fair. But then he puts peanut butter on his lunch meat sandwich, and I was like, no.
Very weird. I think we're supposed to find that funny.
I think we definitely were. Because there's and there was also a calendar reveal to show that it's now Friday the 13th.
Yes, the son like rips the page off the page day calendar and he throws it. It lands in Dad's sandwich, and for some reason like does a spark like a.
Well, he throws it in the trash can, and the trash can like sparks it and burps it out onto the sandwich.
Oh, I completely missed that part.
I think that's what happened. I could be misremembering. Mom goes to investigate attic squeaks, and this is where she sees the cat and pretends she's never seen it before. And I was like, I swear you all saw this when you came in the house.
I missed them seeing the cat in the beginning, so it's possible that the movie didn't have this and you were incorrect, but I don't know. Also, does the dog ever come back?
The end.
Okay.
He comes back at the end.
Oh, right. He's in the like smile and wave part. Okay.
Yeah. We get more owl jokes.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I don't...
There are like 20 of these cheap bad bats in the attic, and she's like, oh, there's just all these owls up here. What's happening?
At this point in the movie, it had not come back around to funny yet.
Yeah.
I was like, this is now dumb.
Yeah. This part of the movie I dubbed NSFT, which is not safe for tippies, because it is exactly the sequence where Tippi Hedren gets attacked by birds in the attic and the birds.
Oh, you're right. It is
very... by bats.
It's a lot of that same like crash, like when she's on the boat with like the crash zoom and the head flick.
No, not the boat. Isn't it the attic where she?
Well, that too. But I'm saying, the way it's shot is a lot of that like crash zoom and a reaction face.
Yeah.
They call the exterminator. The exterminator says we charge by the bat, which I thought was very funny.
Apparently, this exterminator, the
major,
the major who only has this one scene, he is like the last guy still doing vaudeville shtick in 1981.
No shit.
Yeah, he's like the last remaining embers of vaudeville. And then it's kind of interesting that he has his scene partner. I didn't write the actor's name down, but the guy who plays Van Helsing was one of the original founders of Second City.
Oh, okay.
So like some like comedy torch passing here, I guess.
Yeah, right.
So he comes to their house, gets invited in. He's like, where's my room? And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, bats don't just go away in one afternoon. And it's like, well, probably they could. Right?
He's also I think he says his name is Van Helsing.
Yeah.
So the dad, this is where Dad is an idiot again. He's like, well, kids, go make dinner. And the roast that Mom bought is the neighbor's head in butcher paper. And the window says soon all dead, DED.
Yes.
And I was like, well, who's warning them?
Yes. Because we keep seeing this creature out the window in various parts, but it's never really explained who or what that creature is. I assume it was the dishwashing creature, but I really don't know.
I guess. I don't know. Mom's looking real Elvira as she's laying in bed.
Yes. And it's like a real, like, lacy, again, it's like Mina. Have you ever read Dracula?
So I've read a modern interpretation that was all, like, email chains and texts and blogs. So it's like, it's the same story. It's just I have not read the actual.
So during the pandemic, I read the original book, which I had never done before.
It's a lot like the 90s movie, isn't it? It's pretty close, from what I understand.
I don't think I've seen the 90s movie.
It's with Winona Ryder. It's a good one.
Well, the thing I was going to say is Mina is such a frustrating character in that book because she continually, it's like every night she goes to bed, Dracula shows up, drinks a bunch of her blood, and then leaves. And then the next morning she's like, I feel terrible. I feel like I have no blood in my whole body. And they're like, oh, geez, like, I guess we should, like, put up some garlic and, like, maybe some crosses and do some, like, you know, holy water. And she's like, no, I don't want to be in any trouble. And then she goes to sleep, and Dracula comes in the fucking room, drinks a bunch of her blood and leaves. And then she wakes up the next morning, and she's like, oh, my God, it's like, no blood in my whole body. And they're like, again, like, very simple to just, like, put up some garlic. Like, my wife, why are you acting like this? And she's like, no, too much trouble. So this goes on, like, multiple times until finally, like, Dracula drinks her blood and then makes her drink of him, and vampires her. And it's just like,
I thought it was Lucy. Is it both of them? Because Mina has a friend, Lucy, that also gets...
Yeah, Lucy gets killed, I thought, by Dracula.
Oh, I think in the movie, Lucy becomes a vampire and they have to stake her.
That's right. They do stake Lucy. You're right. That is correct. I forgot. But she does die. But they cut her, they stake her and cut her head off in the book. But just like the whole time, it's just like, God damn it, Mina, just say it. Something's wrong. Like, let them fix it. They're trying to fix it. And she just refuses to. And that's the whole thing I got with this, where it's like, she's laying in bed in this weird outfit you've never seen before. And he's like, why is the bed full of dirt? And she's just like, oh, you know, I just like to be on consecrated ground.
Yeah,
And
I spilled a flower pot, I think she says.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, okay, well, that's weird that you had a whole ass flower pot in the bed, but not going to think anything of it, I guess. Bye.
The daughter sees the head finally and runs upstairs and doesn't say the neighbor's head is in the kitchen. She just says the man from next door is in the kitchen.
Yes.
And then when they go down there,
very chill.
Dad's like, oh, dinner's ready. It looks great. I guess the neighbor left. And she doesn't say, no, it was his head. She just doesn't fucking say anything. Like, you go mute.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, she doesn't be like, why is there this whole ass roast here? Where'd this come from?
She doesn't say, I didn't cook that. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Also, Mom now jokes that she might be pregnant.
Yeah. And the Van Helsing guy is doing this like terrible German accent. But I did like the part where he's like, oh, you know, not every baby is a good baby. Rosemary had a baby.
Yeah, it was very strange. There's all this weird pregnancy talk in the at the dinner table, and Van Helsing then exposition dumps and is like, "Actually, I'm here for the book. It's the source of all evil." Blah 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 blah. And then Billy confesses that he opened the book and then lost the book.
Yes. So we see Tambor and his wife out front, and they're having a fight where she's like all jelly about him with this lady, and then Tambor's like, you know, I can't take this anymore, and he turned into a bat. It's honestly, it's worse. Like, I love the bat and the leap with it. Matt Berry and the vampires do, and What We Do in the Shadows. Here, Tambor just wiggles back and forth,
both
left
do.
to right.
They shimmy.
Well, yeah, she does it after, but like she's kind of giving it some gusto. Tambor is like, are you fucking kidding me? I have to wiggle.
Which again, so, like, this is 1981 Jeffrey Tambor. You're not a big guy yet, my dude.
Yeah. But like she's like really kind of like giving it her all, and he's just like, I guess I'll fucking do this, and is like kind of embarrassed a little bit, it feels like.
Also Jeffrey Tambor. Oh, but first Jeffrey Tambor like calls to the mom to get the book, but she can't touch it because she's evil, because it zaps evil things.
Yes. And then he and the wife are inside the house. They like turn into bats, go in an upstairs window, and Van Helsing has like a vial of mystery liquid, and he's like, one drop of this and you'll all be dead. And they're like, oh, okay. And they run away. They re-bat wiggle, which I thought it was very funny that they made him do it twice after Tambor like gave no effort. They're like, well, fuck you. You're doing it again, pal.
Yeah, right.
And it turns out this is just like a cocktail Van Helsing was making. He just like takes a sip of it.
And then the daughter goes to the bathroom, and when she opens the bathroom door and steps inside, all of a sudden she's in the kitchen and it's full of monsters.
Yeah, she's like, this isn't the kitchen. Like, well, how did
I get to the kitchen? And then she's like trying to sneak out, and like literally monsters are walking through the door at her, like looking her in the face, and they don't react.
Yes.
And I was like, what's happening?
It's almost like a dream sequence where it's like she can see but not interact.
It's weird. And then there's this weird fumbling in the dark with the daughter or the creature from the Black Lagoon that like isn't really funny, and I think it's meant to be funny, but it's not.
Yeah, it's like you want them to like dance by mistake or something, you know?
Yeah, or like keep accidentally reaching for things.
Yeah. I think this is where we find out that they can't leave the house. Like they open the front door and it's like a hellscape.
They can't leave the house at all because originally they were like, well, let's move, and Mom says no, we can't move, and I was like, oh, Mom's evil, and then Van Helsing is like, you can't move, that's not gonna solve the problem, but now you can't leave the house at all, and I was like, well, that's a different statement. I can't leave the house at all.
Right.
It's different than I can't move.
Right. This is where we get the eyeballs in the coffee cup that we alluded to earlier, and the dad just like puts a napkin over the top of it.
There's some Count Chocula on the table, my favorite cereal.
Yeah. Did I make the line better in my head? Because I feel like at the end when the dad gets up, he's like, hands the coffee to the kid, and he's like, can you get rid of this? I can't see myself drinking it. He
says, I don't like the look of it. Or I can't stand the sight of it. I can't stand the sight of it. It's the same kind of joke, so...
Yeah. Okay. It's a pretty good joke.
Yeah.
Van Helsing is like, we got to have a big party. We got to have
because they say
soda.
they told him they were having their housewarming. He's like, perfect. We'll keep having the party. And I was like, why?
Yeah. Later we find out why. But I love that Van Helsing's idea of a rockin' party, and this is a man who we find out is like 600 years old, is club soda and onion dip.
Which, like, gotta be honest, that's my kind of party.
This man, it's like not a cocktail, not a little pig in a blanket, or like a little smoky and some barbecue sauce in a crock pot, or some grape jelly meatballs.
Yeah.
No.
Which, like, I gotta say, onion dip and club soda. I'm there. If you tell me that's what you got,
that's a Tuesday night. That's not a party.
I mean, hey. Oh wait, though, this is where Mom wasn't sleeping in dirt before. Now she's sleeping in dirt. She was
you're right.
She was just sleepy and vampy before, and now she's sleeping in dirt. And it's
there's also the scene where Van Helsing like puts his cape up and she runs away from the sight of him.
That was like when he first came in the house.
Yeah, but yeah, her not having fangs is completely insane. Like
because they have her do the like classic vampire hiss,
like yes, and try to bite his neck.
And it's like, well, you don't have fangs.
Like she must. Like my pet theory here is she either has like really bad breath or just super fucked up teeth, and she was like, absolutely not. Are you doing a close up on my mouth for any reason?
I didn't think her teeth looked that fucked up.
I didn't either, but maybe like behind the front five is just like an Austin Powers level of nightmare.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems weird.
I agree.
So the doorbell rings, and Dad, that's as she's going to bite his neck, and Dad turns because he doesn't notice, because now, again, he's very inconsistent. So the liquor store guy comes, and, like, I get what they were trying to do with this joke. It doesn't... this joke in a Mel Brooks movie works. It doesn't work here.
The joke is he has brought exactly what Van Helsing said this party needed, which was club soda.
No, I'm not talking about that. Van Helsing opens the door, and the guy who's clearly delivering something goes, liquor store? Oh. And Van Helsing goes, no, this is a private residence, and shuts the door in his face.
Oh, yes.
And then rings the bell again, and when he opens, he goes, no, I'm from the liquor store. I'm delivering your club soda, onion dip, and chips.
And old Streisand records.
Yes, and old Streisand records.
Again, Tuesday night at Andrews.
My kind of party.
Tuesday night at Andrews. And then Van Helsing is a dick, because he's like, oh, can you bring it inside? Knowing full well this man will be trapped there.
Yeah. Because now he can't leave the house either. Every time they open the door, it's like the end of Evil Dead, a crazy reverse vortex.
I honestly kept thinking of the Beetlejuice gag where they open it up and you can see like the sandworms.
Oh yeah. Mom comes down as the doorbell rings, and what?
Well, no. First, everybody's like stuck. Like the liquor, they're all sitting on the couch. They can't. They try to turn. The dad's like, "Can you please turn this off? Because it's more of the fake Rod Serling guy." And the kid's like, "I turned it off an hour ago," and it just like keeps making noise. But the liquor store guy is like making eyes at the sister, and he's just like, "Say," and it's like, I don't know, bud. I assume if you work at the liquor store, you're not in high school. I think she's too young for you.
But also, everyone keeps going, who is that at the liquor store guy? I'm like, he's been here for hours.
Yes.
Like, it would be one thing if only Van Helsing saw him. Then that joke works. But you all welcomed him into the home.
It's also funnier if just like one person keeps asking the question. Everyone's like, he's the liquor store guy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, now the doorbell rings. The mom comes down all dressed in white.
Daughter says, you can't open that door. There's something horrible out there, because she's thinking it's like the crazy vortex wind. And mom opens the door, and it's the in-laws. And she goes, you're right. There is something horrible out there.
And she opens the door back up. And here's like, at this point, I'm like, why is everyone in this family not trying to dive out this door while they can?
Yeah. There's not a vortex? I'll be right out.
Yeah, it should be the Scooby-Doo like foot noises as these people try to jam themselves out the door all at once.
So there are four relatives who came to this party because we have no budget.
No, we have 2 aunties and 2 uncles.
The one in the fur coat is like, I'll take off my own coat so I can go look in your closets, and then gets got by a fur monster in the closet.
I kind of liked that.
It was a cute bit.
Justified ending for a snooper.
There's also this repeated bit where everyone who shows up got them an electric can opener as a housewarming present.
Yeah, I was waiting for this to really pay off in some capacity. Like, I don't know, they had to open 100 cans of garlic or something ridiculous.
I think
like,
it's probably just a generational, or the product of the time, that like electric can openers were just a common shitty gift.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I found this. It's like they kind of use them at the end. Like they don't all this. They just start shooting sparks at the end. But it's not really like
one
relevant.
shot of all the electric can openers like bumping on the table. That's it.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. But I was just like, oh, there must be some reason why we have 30 can openers all of a sudden.
Van Helsing is stuck as the bartender, and the son has gone as he hasn't gone missing just yet. But then the dad comes out and goes, this ice is so old, and it's a bowl of ice with cobwebs on it. And I was like,
yes.
What is the joke?
Right.
Like, I don't...
Like, let me give you a quick punch up. This ice is so old, and he's holding...
water.
A bowl of water! That is the proper joke there.
I was just like, what do you mean the ice is old?
Yeah. It felt like a Munsters gag, honestly, that like Herman would have got out a bowl of ice and it has cobwebs on it, and then the wife says that to him, like that he's ruining the party.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, I do love that the other auntie who is like not trapped in the closet in the fur picks up this plate. And I don't know if there was anything on the plate, but she starts putting the whole plate into her purse. Like she's just taking the plate from the house.
Also, the neighbor cop's wife shows up at the door as well.
And she's like, he hasn't been home in 2 days. It's so unlike him. Meanwhile, Van Helsing is playing bartender, and he's like reading a cocktail book and like learning how to make this drink. And I think it's a banana daiquiri.
It's a banana daiquiri, which is just the juice from the container. It's like banana daiquiri mixer.
Yeah. And then he puts one cherry in, and then a second cherry in, and then he kind of shrugs and dumps half the cup of the jar of maraschino cherries in there. And I was just like, what are you, banana cherry? What is this?
I mean, I think cherry on top of a frozen drink type thing.
A cherry on top of a banana daiquiri, fine. A little dribble of cherry juice on the top of the banana drink, fine.
Yeah.
This is like 50-50 banana and maraschino.
I mean, I agree on
juice.
that part, yeah. So now they realize the son has gone missing, and everybody has to go look for him.
Van Helsing tries to like rally the troops by being like, all right, if we find the kid, you get a can opener. And everyone's like, ooh, and then they like burst into action.
The realtor is some kind of monster now. I was like, is she acted like a vampire.
So confusing.
Acted like a vampire, but she was not killed by a vampire. She was killed by the Sasquatch thingy.
Right. And then the cop's wife finds his severed head on the table and starts asking him for help like he's alive. It's so strange.
It's weird. All the red shirts start getting killed off real quick.
Yeah, everybody who wasn't in this movie at the start of the movie gets killed post haste. I was also waiting at some point for the Major to show up and be like part of the help.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But then Van Helsing is like, oh, the time is now. It's for the evil things. And then the vampires show up with Billy in a vampire cape holding the Book of Evil. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so is he a vampire now? And then Mom is like, you have to give the book to Van Helsing. He's the only one who can get rid of the monsters. And I was like, well, I thought you were a vampire. I thought you were evil now, Mom. Aren't you?
Yeah. Well, yes, she's trying to help Van Helsing.
But
who is the bad guy.
But she's vampired by Tambor. That's what it's weird.
That's fair. Yeah. And then we get like there is like less than 5 minutes in the movie when we get the twist reveal of Van Helsing is actually the bad guy. Oopsie poopsie.
And well, because the little boy's like, the vampires showed me how you're evil and actually in the book, and I was like, so are they lying? I was like, oh, the vampires are lying, I'm sure. And they're like, no, Van Helsing actually is the evil one, and I was like, all right, and it's too dumb, this fight.
Yes,
it's too dumb and too long.
It's like. They start making like silly faces at one another, like
first they're making noises, and like one opens his mouth and a foghorn sounds, the other one opens his mouth and a jackhammer sound comes out, and I'm like, okay, so we're doing whatever.
Yeah,
and then they start
stupid, but like sort of cartoon bitty, whatever,
like making weird faces at each other contests, and I was like, okay.
Like hooking the pinkies in your cheeks and pulling and waggling your tongue, putting your thumbs on your temples and waggling all 8 fingers. Like really dumb.
It's bad.
Like very clearly they were told to improvise and they just like winged it. Like the kind of stuff I do to amuse the 1-year-olds.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's how you entertain a baby. And then they start doing special effects and there's electricity crackles and whatever. Van Helsing gets the book from the kid, and the kid's like, it's going to kill you. And Van Helsing's like, I can't die. And takes the book and immediately dies. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, the kid kind of like hits him with it, and he turns into like red laser vision, sort of, in the shape of a human body, and then he's gone.
And then the kid goes, we won. And I was like, we did?
I guess.
The dog comes back, and then it's happily ever after. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and they show like Dracula and the wife like leave, and then there's like a quick gag where Tambor like does a U-turn to go after the wife, and his real wife slaps him, and then we see them like standing in the doorway of the decrepit house, and the wife says to Tambor, she's like, shouldn't we give them something nice? And he's like, you're right. And then it like wiggle wave, over the house, and suddenly it's basically the nice house across the street that Tambor has the ability to use Dracula powers to do. Like,
and
what?
And then the wife's like, and we get a happy ending too, right? And he's like, of course, roll credits. And I was like, I don't.
Yeah. Dracula has the power to do
he has a real estate license?
Instant montage of fixing stuff up montages. Like, how does he have that power?
Yeah, it's a strange one.
Kind of a bizarre movie overall. I really have to say, like, if you don't have a built-in nostalgia for this is probably not worth you seeking out. I know there's folks out there who listen to or watch all the movies with us. So if you did watch it in advance, maybe you were able to bail. You are able to bail. We hope you know that you have that permission.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see if I watched this when I was 8 that I probably would have liked it. Mm-hmm, like it would have felt like kind of safely
the problem is we had the Monster Squad, which is just like the better movie for like of monsters coming together to do a thing.
Fully acknowledging that, like, if you watch the Monster Squad having not grown up with it, you probably hate it. I think this is objectively a worsely made movie than Monster Squad. Yeah,
because I think well, the Monster Squad is like has a beginning, a middle, and end, and a needle threading it the whole way through. You might not love it, but you can be like, you're not confused at any point.
No, it's pretty straightforward narrative of like kids, monsters, fight. It's not that complicated. This is insanely complicated by comparison, to be honest. So this is not a recommend for me. I assume the same for you.
No, it's not.
But it is widely available. It's on like every streaming service.
Oh, yeah,
it's on Prime. Sure. It's on all the ad-supported ones. It's on Peacock. Like it's anybody who can show a movie can show you Saturday the 14th. Don't you worry. And there apparently is a sequel, although I'm good. I will not be completing that franchise this year, but who maybe in the future a one movie franchise finish will be appealing. I finished both Alien and Predator this year already.
Okay.
Closed up all the missing spots in those for myself. Before we hop off, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody listening to the show now, and you won't hear it if you don't listen anymore, but anybody who's ever listened to the show, this is the 10th anniversary is pretty remarkable that we've been doing this since August of 2014, and celebrating this anniversary during listener request month. listener request month, is a great time to do it because we just wouldn't be here without y'all. So the Michelle and next listener supporter are both from Patreon who make this show possible. So we're really grateful to all of the Patreon supporters, but also grateful to anybody who listens to the show and, tells their friends about it if they do that. And, pretty remarkable to have any sort of platform that people are listening to. I am very grateful to have the show in my life and just really appreciative of all the support. So I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you for doing this with me for 10 years. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed
it's weird to think about this. It's been 10 years.
Yeah. A lot of different apartments and now a house and, for you, multiple places that you've lived. And for me, several different cities. It's been pretty cool journey. Live shows in Philly and Baltimore and put together the Baltimore Podcast Festival, something I never would have done without this show. We got to go to Halloween Horror Nights because of this show.
Hopefully we can do stuff like that again.
Yeah. One day that would be very cool. So, very grateful for all the things this show has brought into my life and for the opportunity to spend more time talking to you. So, thanks very much. Appreciate you taking this journey with me.
Thank you. You too.
We will be back in 2 weeks with, oh no, I just forgot the name of Tom's movie. Shoot. Scream for Help. Oh, Breaking the Case, by the way. We talk all the time about the easy way to commit credit card fraud in the 80s because of the credit card machines. I was just reading a book by John Hodgman where he worked in some real retail job that he was describing, and he mentioned a little black book that got mailed out weekly or monthly that had like a list of fraudulent stolen credit card numbers that you had to like manually check a list of numbers. So if, like, again, I'm standing by, it was very easy to commit credit card fraud.
Oh yeah.
Because somebody had to manually, nobody was fucking doing that. Are you kidding me? Certainly not in real time. So
no.
Thank you all so very much. The next episode will come out on Monday, the 30th of September. This one's out a little bit early, both because we screwed up and because we could put it out on Saturday the 14th. So thank you so very much for listening to the show. If you haven't, tell 2 friends, rate and review the show, hit us up on Facebook or at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. We would love to hear from you there. Thank you for 10 years of listening to this show. My God, I can't believe that's real.
Wild.
I have been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Here's to the next 10 years.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production. Ow.